All right, I want to change gears here. I want to stick with literature, but I kind of want to touch on some stuff that is a little more appropriate for what the kids need for Scholar Bowl, for Quiz Bowl. And I need to be a little more detail oriented and not so reflective. So this is going to be a little different, but I want to talk about right now, one that we need to cover is Rip Van Winkle by Washington Irving. This was published in 1819 as part of the sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon. Geoffrey Crayon was one of Washington Irving's pseudonyms whenever he would write, and it's one of the most famous American short stories, and one of the earliest as well. And the story is set in colonial New York, pre-Revolution, and it's near the Catskill Mountains. Rip Van Winkle is a kind and gentle man who lives in a small Dutch village. And he's well liked by his neighbors, especially the children, because he's generous and he's helpful. But it's well known that Rip is, he's avoiding work and responsibility. And this causes constant tension with his wife, and the Dame Van Winkle. And she regularly scolds him for his laziness. Rip is a little bit henpecked, so to speak. And so, to escape his wife's nagging, Rip will often wander in the Catskill Mountains with his dog. His dog's named Wolf. And one day, Rip meets a group of strange, silent men dressed in old-fashioned Dutch clothing. And the men are playing ninepins, which is an early form of bowling, and they're carrying with them a keg of a strange liquor. And Rip helps them carry the keg, and he has a few drinks from it. And soon after, he falls into a deep sleep. And Rip will sleep for about 20 years. And when he wakes up, his gun is rusted, his beard is long and gray, and his dog Wolf is long gone. So, confused, Rip returns to his village, where he immediately notices that things have changed. People are loudly arguing about politics, which is something that Rip doesn't recognize. And at the village inn, Rip notices that the portrait of King George III has been replaced by one of George Washington. And he learns that the American Revolution occurred while he was asleep, and that the colonies are now the United States of America. And the village initially suspect Rip as a spy or just a madman, but eventually Rip is recognized by his daughter, Judith Gardenier, who confirms his identity. Rip also learns that his wife, the Dame Van Winkle, has died. She dies from a burst blood vessel while arguing with a vendor. Now, free from all responsibility, Rip goes on to spend the rest of his life telling his story and living rather peacefully. The mysterious men that Rip met in the mountains are often believed to be the ghostly crew of the lost Henry Hudson, the explorer, and they return every 20 years to play ninepins in the Catskills. Now, Rip Van Winkle is best remembered as a story about a man who sleeps through the American Revolution, and he wakes up in a new nation. I hope those details are just enough. Thanks for watching.